Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today we have a beginner's lower body workout. I am in the car, I've just pulled up, ready to go to the gym. Just want to chat a little bit beforehand. Don't worry, I'm not going to go off on a rant, so I'm telling myself, but I'm not going to talk for ages. But just wanted to explain a little bit with beginner workouts, right? Because I see these everywhere, they're all over YouTube, right? When I think of beginner workouts, what I think of is they are easy movements that you don't necessarily need to learn a massive amount. So say a squat, that might sound like it's a beginner thing, but to do it correctly, it's not really a beginner thing. It takes a lot to learn a squat correctly. Same with like a deadlift or things like that. So they are just things that are very easy to just jump into. The hardest thing is going to be the first one, and we're going to talk about that anyway when we're in there. But that's the hardest one, and then the rest are pretty much on machines. So it's dead simple to do, and I'm going to chat through how to work the machines as well. The workout itself is a solid workout. Like, I don't want anyone to think because I'm doing a beginner workout that I'm dumbing like it down, or like I'm not making it a complete workout where it's not hitting everywhere. This is literally my lower body too. Like this is my workout, and it hits everywhere that I want it to hit. It works beautifully. There is nothing wrong with this workout. So it's just a really good, easy workout to go into that you don't have to know loads for, but it's a really, really effective workout. I don't want to call it like easy because this all comes down to how much effort you want to put in, right? Like I've told you, it's a beginner workout for me because it's the easy movements. It is easy if you want to make it easy. They are all weights, so you can choose what weight you lift. Like it's completely up to you. The way it works, the way I do it is I do warm-up sets, and then I will do, it depends how many sets I'm doing, but what I essentially do, say it's a 4 set, which is I think what the first one is, I will do 1 set where I focus on form, so it's a lot lighter, and then I will do 2 heavy sets where I'm really trying to focus on just moving the weight. All that is going to do is just help you in further workouts to be able to shift the weight more, because there's a thing, I know I said I wouldn't try it for ages, but I'll just go over this really quickly, like really quickly. If you are focusing on form every single workout of every single week, you aren't necessarily gonna get the weight up. Like you will here and there, but if you want to keep doing like progressive overload, which is what we need to build muscle, you're gonna have to just not go over, like don't throw form out the window, but not focus on form completely and just get the weight up a little bit. So I do 2 of them, and then I go back down to a form set. On this first exercise, I actually do another form set and then focus really on form. I'll chat about that when I'm in there. But that's how I do it. You can follow this way if you want to follow this way. A lot of researchers recommend this way, or doing like a heavy day and then a light day. So like say this day would be my light set days, and then like my next lower body workout would be like a heavy day. It's completely up to you and how hard you make this. I make this hard. I'm gonna look like I'm straining a lot, but that doesn't mean that you have to do it at whatever level you want to do. I'm just here to show you exercises that are very beginner friendly. So without further ado, I'm gonna stop myself from talking and we're gonna head in the gym. Okay, we are in. I have just done my warm-up. It is boiling in here, so I do my first exercise in the studio, and there's just been a kettlebell class on, and it was so hot all of the glass was steamed up. So it's cooled down a little bit now, but it was a bit intense when I walked in. I was like, I'm gonna have to hip thrust in here. So hip thrust is our first exercise. So I have my setup here. This might look a little bit different to what you guys might have seen around the gym, because a lot of people do them on benches. The reason that I do them on the step is because the benches here are all quite high and I can't get like full lockout at the top. So the movement, you'll see it after, but the movement where you are hip thrusting up and like squeezing your glutes at the top, I can't get high enough to reach my back. So instead of being like a flat line, I'm like this, so then I can't really squeeze my glutes like to full lockout. Whereas this, I can control the height a lot more because it's actually like singular levelers there, and then I've got like 2 just flat steps on top. So it means I can control the height a lot more, and it's just much better. I only started doing this like a month ago, and when I tell you the difference is completely different, because I can feel my upper glutes working way better than I could when using the benches. So I prefer this. You probably see a lot of people using decline benches. I don't really like that either. We don't have one here, but I don't really like that either. I don't think you can get full lockout, and I think it's hard to get your feet in the correct positioning for a decline bench. So I prefer that, or if you have a hip thrusting bench at your gym, perfect, because that's what I used to have at JD, but we're not there anymore. So we're gonna do hip thrust. This is a bit more of a complicated movement, but it's fine. It's not as hard as squat, it's not as hard as deadlift. It's a little bit more complicated than the machines, because you have to kind of control it yourself. So I'm gonna pop a little thing of me doing it in the corner so I can talk through now with you. So it's kind of like reverse box commentary. But you need to have the basic components are, you are using only your glutes to squeeze yourself all the way up to the top. So full lockout, like you literally want to squeeze your bum at the top. If you're not squeezing your bum at the top, you're wasting a whole load of glute development. So make sure you're squeezing all the way at the top. You want your feet in line with your knees, so it's kind of like a straight line. You don't want them too far out. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. Mine, it probably isn't perfect in here, but you want to have them as like straight as possible, and you want to have them just hip width or a little bit wider. Don't go too narrow. If you can feel it too much in your quads, so this bit of your leg, try moving your feet about. That's probably what it is. Your feet are probably too far away or too far in. So just try, and if you can, do it in front of a mirror. But if you can't, put your phone up just so you can see yourself. Don't worry about recording yourself. If you're not comfortable recording yourself, you don't even have to put it on record, just so you can kind of see where your feet are, because that really helps me in here. So behind the camera there is a mirror, and that really helps me being able to see my feet going like straight. So that is the first exercise. Like I say, this is one of those ones where I have 4 sets, so I will literally go, I have 2 warm-up sets, I think. If you guys are new to the channel, I use an app called Strong to track all of my workouts, and it means you don't have to remember what you have done last week, and it means you can progressively overload, which is like adding more sets, adding more reps, adding more weight. And it kind of tells you as well, so you can see, if you can see that little 100% in the corner there, that is telling you if you go over. So if you say if your weight changes but your reps change as well, it'll tell you whether you're actually increasing in volume. So I use this. So I do 2 warm-up sets, then we have the lighter set focusing on a form, then 2 heavy sets, then another lighter set, and then I actually add another one in because I haven't done full lockout for like a really long time, because of using the bench in the incorrect way. I actually add in another set at the end and do pause reps. So at the very top, I will hold it for like 3 seconds and squeeze as hard as I can. I have to go like way lighter. Like for reference, for my weight, don't make this feel bad about yourself. Like, it doesn't matter what your weight is compared to mine, and it doesn't matter if it's more than mine. It doesn't matter what your weight is. But anyway, so for reference, my light, it goes, I do 80 kilos, then 120, then 120, then 85. I think that's because I wanted to put it up to 85 this week, and then 60, which is one of my warm-up sets for normal hip thrusting without the pause reps. So if you're gonna add a pause rep set in, make sure you go light, because it hurts. So that is it. I don't have this on the bar yet, so make sure you get one of these. I've seen a lot of people using roll mats, so like what I have like on the step, they move about a lot. Get yourself one of these. You can get them dead cheap on Amazon. They are in loads of gym shops. Some gyms even sell them, but I got mine off Amazon. They're like a tenner, and it is worth it. Like, you can use it on so many different things, and it's like extra padding. Like, the roll mats are fine in terms of like it not hurting loads, but the more weight you put on, the more it's gonna hurt, and this has like a good like inch of padding on there. So get one of these. I have I think it's Camp Tech. Yeah, the Camp Tech one, and I love it. I think this is our 3rd one because Jack keeps leaving them in the gym. But yeah, get one of these, and yeah, I shall show you the sets. I've dismantled all of it. My doll's looking quite good on there. Anyway, sorry. I've dismantled all of that. We are done. One thing that I forgot to say when I was explaining like how to set it up and stuff is where you want your back positioning to be, because that's the thing that I always struggled with when I was learning. And it's basically you want the bottom of your shoulder blades to be like balanced on the edge, if that makes sense. So you're tilting up from that. There are two different ways to do hip thrusts, and there's kind of like, there's like a, I've forgotten what Brett Contreras calls them, because he's kind of like the king of glute stuff, and that exercise is just for your glutes mainly. But it's basically, you can either do it where your whole body moves, so kind of like what I was doing in the first few, where like even like your upper part of your body kind of like hinges on that angle, and then there's the scoop method, which is basically you don't move anything from your ribs, like sternum down, no, the other way around. Nothing moves sternum up, and it's just kind of like your bones scooping and then going back down and then scooping and coming back down. I struggle with the scooping method. Basically they're both quite effective, but I think Brett Contreras says that the scooping method's more effective, and I struggle with that. So I kind of, on the lighter sets I tend to do that method, and then on the heavier ones I tend to do like the full body movement kind of ones. So yeah, try and put your, like the bottom of your shoulder blades on the angle, and then just choose whichever one you want to do, especially when this is kind of like a beginner workout. Just choose whichever one. But now we have finished that, we're gonna go do leg extension. I'm gonna talk about here so I don't have to go out when people are around, but it's the same kind of thing. So we're gonna do 4 sets. So I am doing light, heavy twice, and then light. This one is, we're going auto machines now, so it gets a little bit easier now. The main thing for this one is it's for your quads. So like what I said before, like this part of your leg, you want to make sure that you are feeling it there. If you are feeling it in your knees and nowhere else, you need to adjust a little bit. Like you want to feel it in your quads. This is just for quads. So if you're feeling it in your knees, go lighter and change your foot positioning. You want your feet kind of like, don't go wider than hip, kind of, I don't want to call it height's not height, hip width. Like try and get your feet like that. So try and keep your feet in the same position the entire time. Don't let them go like slide in and out. Just try and make sure you can feel it in your quads, and if not, play about. Definitely go lighter and try again. Like that's what I'd recommend for all of these. Go as light as you like, go light-ish, not as light as you can, because then that would be just nothing, wouldn't it? But go light-ish, and then as you get more comfortable with movement, go heavier. And then if you stop feeling it as much, save them for the heavy sets, and then go back and try and doing the lighter sets, focusing on form where you can feel it in your quads. And for this one, I'd even say don't go too heavy so that like you can only feel it in your knees. And then with that extension, you can also play about with the way your feet are in terms of whether they're pointing like forward or outwards or inwards. It's kind of up to you. Feel about, but this is definitely one of the easier ones to set up. So we're going to go over to the machine, and I'm going to show you in case you aren't sure of how you can like change it. Oh, one thing, leg extensions kind of vary from gym to gym. So my one might not look exactly the same as yours, but they kind of have the same principle. So we will go and sort it out now. Okay, here we go. So obviously I'm out in the main gym now, so if you can hear stuff like music and people, I'm sorry. But this is basically what you're gonna see in every single gym. The good like rule of thumb is that if it's orange or yellow, you can adjust it. Normally on other ones you might see another one down here, but ours is just kind of like on a hinge, so it moves anyway. But you can change it here on mine, and obviously the weight. So this kind of depends on how far this goes up, because obviously your range of some people's range of movement isn't as well as like other people's, so that you can put that further up, so then you start more here rather than back here, because obviously you've got to get your legs like underneath yourself to be able to go do it from there. Then this one is how far you're on the I don't know what to call it, the chair essentially. You want it so the kind of your crease of your leg is on the edge of that. So you'll see it when I'm putting my set in, but you want it so that the crease of your leg is on the edge of that, but you can still go underneath yourself a little bit. And then obviously you've got the weight, so they're the kind of adjustable bits for it. And then like I said, play about with your feet positioning, and then you can pick where you want to be. So I'm gonna do my set now. extension. One thing I forgot, well, I should probably mention is you might have noticed that I lean forward quite far. I just prefer that. Like I feel it much better in my quads if I lean like straight and nearly forward, because I think on this one, like you can see it has like quite a bit of an angle, whereas ones I'm used to are like straight up, and I just way prefer like being straight up or a little bit forward. I just feel like I can focus more on my quads more, I can like hold on the handles better. But we are done with quads, we're gonna go over to hamstrings now. We're doing seated leg curl. The seated leg curl in this gym seems to be like a one that I haven't seen really. There's loads of different bits, so I'll try and like generalize it, because they are like the same movement, but it's just some of them are different. So this is the one in here. Again, anything that is orange you can adjust. So on this one you can adjust the seat, which I haven't seen. I don't think that's that common. There is, you can adjust the angle that is in, rather than that being on like a pivot, like the leg extension that's slotted in. And then you can again adjust this as to how far up or down is it, because obviously if that's too high up for you, you're not going to be able to reach it. So that allows it to like come down or up. Then you've got this thing. This is the thing that tends to change a lot for different leg curls. Other ones you can see sometimes have a pad like down here rather than up on here. I prefer these ones, but obviously you can't help it in the gym that you're in. But basically this you push up or down. Other ones kind of have like a pin slot, kind of like the weights, and that presses down onto here, so you can just use the hamstrings rather than your body moving about loads and not being able to use the hamstrings that much. So that's kind of the main thing. Again, similar to the leg extension, you want the seat pad to end kind of where your like upper leg ends, and you want to be able to go as far back as possible. On this one I struggle with it, so I don't go as far under as I would like to. It just, I fiddled with it before, I just can't find the way that I like it as well, so I can't go underneath as much as I would like to, but try and go as far under as you can. One thing you're probably going to see when I'm doing it is my back like comes off the seat a little bit, like it arches too much. That I try to focus on not doing when I'm doing the lighter ones, and then that happens a little bit on the heavier sets. Again, I think I'm doing 4 on this, but don't do it to an extent. Like if your lower back can't stay on at all, go lighter and focus on the form. So hamstrings, so that is like here underneath of your legs, so that's where you should be feeling it. And the weights works like everywhere else, it's just like a pin. I realised I didn't say that on there, but yeah, we're gonna do this. I'm out of breath for setting this up. Right, let's go. With leg curl, so another important thing that you need to keep in mind with leg curl is you don't want your calves doing too much work with them. So the best thing I can recommend is to keep your feet in the exact same position the entire time. So if you saw in my clip, my feet are flexed the entire time, because if you start with them flexed at the top and then as you go down your feet go down, basically your calves are going to do too much work rather than your hamstrings. So to get your hamstrings doing all the work, keep your feet in the same position. Again, play about with stance for it. I prefer like a narrower stance with leg curl, but try and keep your feet exactly the same position. Right, we are done with hamstrings. We are heading back to glutes now. We're going to do hip abduction, which is a very common beginner exercise. I'm going to talk you through it though. This is hitting the outside of your glutes, so rather than like the main bit of your glutes, it's kind of hitting here rather than like back here, so right on the outskirts. Hip abduction tends to be on the same machine as hip adduction. We are doing abduction, which means we are pushing it away from our body. Adduction means you're squeezing into it. So this machine tends to look exactly the same every single place. The adjustable bits mainly are the weights and then the pads, so that changes this. This can go in or out depending on what you're doing. If you want them to do hip abduction, which is what we are doing, you want them as far in as possible. They twist, so you can change what you're doing. That's if you're doing what we're doing. That's if you're doing the other one. So I do these a little bit different, not hugely, but basically I don't use the backrest for them. I tend to lean quite far forward, not with my body but just like with the rest of me. I'm really far off the seat. I've just found that is the only place that I feel it in my hip abduction. I've struggled with this for quite a while. Like, I normally feel like in the past I felt it in my quads, which is not where you want to feel it. So you can try any different way. Getting all angles is probably like the best thing you can do, like leaning back in the middle and then leaning forward. But I just do them leaning up and then quite far off the seat. You'll see it in a second anyway. But I also don't hold on to the handles because I just, again, feel like I can hit my abductors a lot better. So we're gonna go on with it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've forgotten about it. Oh, I only do 2 sets for this because it's just like a little accessory exercise on the end, because I've already hit my abductors, because glute, like hip thrusts tend to get them anyway. So we're gonna do 1 warm-up set and 2 like heavier sets. It is quite heavy, but do whatever weight you feel like you can hit them best. Done. We're back in the car. I had to take some pictures for the thumbnail and stuff, so I had to rush back to the car for parking. If you know Snap Fitness, you only get like 2 hours parking, and I went over that, so I had to rush back to the car. So yeah, hip abduction done. I was lying. I do 3 sets. I realized when I looked back on Strong. I still don't recommend going super light and doing loads and loads of reps. I think hip abductor, it depends on who you are, but you can probably go heavier than what you think. Like, for example, I was doing like 63 on like 20 reps and still feeling it. Like, I would expect normally to go that heavy and then not really feel it in my hip abductors, but I did. So just try putting the weight up, see how you feel. You don't have to go super heavy, but just see how easy it feels and play about with where you're sitting on the seat. Like I say, I like being far forward and not holding on, but some people like holding on and sitting all the way back. So there's loads you can do with hip abduction. I'm going that into another video if anybody's interested. But that was the workout. Like I said, super simple. It's only 1 free weight exercise really, and the rest are machine work. And I hope I did a good job of explaining how you use them. If you want to see any more depth explanation for the machines, because there's loads I didn't say, I could do a full video on like every single exercise, to be completely honest. But if that is something you want to see, like more form videos, I am 100% happy to do that, so please comment below if you want to see that. If you want to see more beginner workouts, if you want to see more advanced workouts, please just let me know and I'm happy to do them. I'm getting more into my workout videos and I hope you guys are enjoying them. So yeah, that is going to be it for this week's Time to Grow. I missed it last week, so I apologise, but with this is it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm doing well at the minute. That's the other, like, I normally do a bit of an update for Time to Grow. If you are new, Time to Grow is a series documenting my journey into putting on some muscle and recovering from an eating disorder and body dysmorphia. I'm doing really good at the minute. I'm feeling really good, and that's all I'm going to say about it because I want to stay feeling good about it. So thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please make sure to leave this a like. Workout videos don't always do the best, so I'd really appreciate any support you can give, any comment, any subscribes. If you aren't subscribed, press that button please. But that is going to be it. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye.